Hello and welcome to a Tophet Alliance Church weekly update this last weekend in September. Last weekend we launched 3 new things, and I want to start with an update on those 3. First, our Saturday evening service went well. We had 18 people attend, and it was positive in a number of ways. Our combined attendance would have been too crowded for one service. And second, it allowed some who attend who are not comfortable attending a larger service where physical distancing is more difficult to maintain. So thank you for those of you who are attending on Saturday to make more room for people on Sunday. And remember, those on Saturday, you can suggest some of the music selections if you get them to our office by midweek. Our Sunday evening time, our Bible study, was an uplifting time as we studied the negotiation prayer of Abraham in Genesis chapter 18. There was a good time of discussion and prayer shared by the 17 people who attended. It provided a welcome time to meet in person rather than on video. And so you are welcome to join for any or all of the remaining sessions in this series, Sunday, 4 p.m., as we consider the biographies and prayers of biblical figures. So have you taken up the 63-day challenge from our Walking with God message series? I've added a daily, distraction-free walking time to my schedule. I encourage each one of you to adopt a physical practice that gives priority and focus to your spiritual growth. I'll say more about the weekend message theme later in this update. I want to talk a little bit about guidance and recommendations during this COVID time. You'll notice that there's a rise in COVID infections across Canada and in our province, and this deserves both our attention and our prayer. This week, I, along with 900 other leaders of faith communities, took part in a town hall meeting by phone hosted by Premier Jason Kenney and Medical Officer Dr. Dina Hinshaw. It provided helpful context and clarification for faith communities. A couple of key things to note. The province is providing guidance and recommendations for faith organizations and asking them to take responsibility to meet in the safest manner possible. They don't want to yo-yo between closure and reopening if that is at all possible. COVID, they say, will be with us for many months, and their key strategy is to operate our province with the least restrictions possible, yet avoid environments that would allow spreading of infection that would overwhelm our health system. So how do those recommendations affect our congregation? I want to address 2 issues. First, masks. Masks are a nuisance, and they're uncomfortable, yet we will continue to ask our congregation to wear masks when entering, leaving, and visiting. Within our congregation, there are some who feel masks are an entirely unnecessary overreaction, especially in an area of the province with such low infection rates. Others in our congregation would be far more comfortable if everyone in the congregation wore masks for the entire duration of our service, regardless of physical distancing. We are asking people to love and honor one another through a middle option. And that will stretch all of us. Some will need to set aside their opinions and put up with a mask. Others will need to set aside their fears when others are less cautious than they are. There are some on each side of the spectrum who will choose not to attend, and that's okay. You're still part of our congregation, and we hope that you can connect with our services online and with people through phone and video. For those who are attending, we ask you to sanitize your hands when you enter and to wear a mask when entering, when exiting, and especially when visiting. Of course, we may ask that any that have the most common symptoms of COVID or any in contact with someone with COVID to join us online instead of joining in person. I also want to talk about singing. When I participated in a similar town hall conference in June, the question was raised as to whether congregations could sing if wearing masks. They said at that point they did not have evidence on whether that would be effective. On the basis of that, I and many other congregations interpreted this to mean that while singing was not recommended, singing with a mask was not explicitly prohibited. So I allowed singing if wearing a mask. I was wrong in extending that permission. It is true that the province is providing guidance and recommendation rather than mandates in this regard. Yet as a leader, I should clearly communicate their recommendation, not my own preference or interpretation of their recommendation. So I apologize. Note we are following the recommendations which allow a live music group with a small group of musicians and generous space between musicians and the congregation. The recommendations do allow the congregation to hum while wearing a mask. For many of us, it's hard not to sing. But please restrict yourself to humming while wearing a mask. As with other recommendations, we're not policing this, but rather asking that to the best of our abilities, we follow the provisions and guidelines and recommendations that are given to us. I want to talk a little about communion. Good news, we're going to have communion on Thanksgiving weekend. In the time when we could not hold services, we held communion a couple of times through a Zoom meeting, but we've not held communion since. I've wondered, how do we best practice communion in a way that is both safe and yet is not overlaid with a whole bunch of precautions that become a distraction? So I've networked with other pastors and I've heard of some ways that are working well. So we're going to proceed with communion on the Saturday and Sunday of our Thanksgiving weekend. It'll be slightly different from what we're familiar with, but it will be good to once again participate together in this time of remembrance. Finally, our message series, Walking in Obedience. There are things that are good that are not always easy. And God calls us to two of these in our walk with Him, obedience and love. The message at our weekend services will explore what the Bible has to say about these two important steps in our discipleship journey. I hope you're able to join Saturday at 6:30, Sunday at 10 a.m., or later in the week online. Deuteronomy 10 verse 12 says, "And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to Him, to love Him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul." God bless. Hope to connect with you on the weekend.